G'day folks. Weather's cooled off here. Last few days. -3s in the morning, Celsius. Cool breeze, a little bit of snow on the mountains. Winter's here, early. June it starts, so we're early May. It's come a little early, which I don't mind. Just means we've got to light the fire a bit earlier and prepare ourselves. Well, if you'd had seen my little short video, guys, I put up a few days ago, maybe a week, you would have seen that I've got the engine in for the last time. I've had it running a few times. I've had it a few good heat cycles. I've put water in it. I wasn't going to start with, but it turns out I did put a bit of water in it and circulated around and had it running for 10 minutes at a time. It's awesome. It's incredible. It's bloody amazing. God, it's a good little engine. I did note though, with the molly rings that I had in it originally, before I pulled it apart, you would have seen it a few videos back, they were shot. It turns out you don't run them with boost. They started to delaminate a little bit. The ring on the molly ring was losing the coating, and I had the cast rings originally out of it and I swapped them back in. Well, now this thing hardly breathes. So we're getting a better sealing than we've ever had. With the molly rings, it always used to breathe a little bit. It was always a bit of blow-by, even just idling and just, it always had that little bit of blow-by in it. And it was quite notable. So now it's hardly breathing at all. It feels like there's more compression. We're not getting any blow-by. And the motor's really responsive and just really happy. So that's awesome. I did give that block a light hone, just a very minimal hone, just to sort of scratch it up a little bit on the bores to try and sort of seat the rings in that again. They were second-hand rings, but they were really good rings. But when I freshened it up before, when I had that damaged piston, which never hurt the ring, but it sort of melted the side off the ring lands, I ended up putting a set of molly rings in, thinking, that would be a nicer ring, but it turns out I didn't do my research, and turns out they're no good for boost, more for NA spec. But anyway, we got the cast ones back in, we've got her all sort of up and running, and wow, it's incredible. I'll fire it up here in a minute and give you guys a little show of it and listen to it. But yeah, it's awesome. I feel so good, guys, with this car now. It's like this is done. I'm over it. I'm moving on, and it just feels so good. Every day that passes, I'm just feeling more happy about it all. So this is going to be a wicked engine in that ute of mine. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be a bit crazy, really. I'm going to have to be careful, and I'm just going to have to be sensible with it, which I am. But it's going to be quite towy on the street. I know that these tyres that I used to run, these circuit tyres, they didn't offer, well, they did, but it'd still bust traction with these. They're a 255 40 and 17, but I'll get some street tyres, some nice street rubber for it. So I may end up moving those ones on. They're pretty old now. They'll be getting on about 4 years old, and they take a lot to get some heat into them. No good on the street. But someone will use them. I'll get something back on them. Yeah, so the plan is, guys, with this, is to strip it all down, pull the fuel system out of it. I'm actually going to pull the cage out of it. I want to keep the steel, not so much as a cage, but just the chrome moly. I think that could come in handy. So I'll cut that out of it. All the fuel tank, fuel system. I'm taking the brake lines out of it. I'm actually going to keep that rear bumper because I want to put it on the ute. I think it'll look quite nice. I've seen some utes like that. Whereas the bumper now I've got on the ute is actually, it's a HQ bumper and it's got little tail lights in it. But I just like the plain look, and I think that'll really suit it on the ute. What else are we going to take out of it? I'm going to keep the steering wheel, and I'm going to put that in the ute. That's a memento. I think that'll be a really nice touch in my ute. There's a little memory of my past circuit days and shenanigans. All the wiring will come out of it. The brake, the pedal box, the whole turbo kit, battery, everything's going to be taken out of it. I'll keep the side mirrors for myself. I'll leave that little bit of trim around. I've already got an extra spare one. I'm keeping the scuttle panel for the ute. I'm going to take, I want to keep the front bumper. That's a really nice bumper. I want to keep the grille. I'd love to put that on the ute. So it's basically, the whole car itself is just going to be a shell with tags. So we are, and it's got the chassis number down there. So if anyone wanted to put it back on the road, they're more than welcome to do it. I only paid, get this, 20 odd years ago, I only paid $2,500 for it. So I'm not asking big bucks for this thing. If I can get what I paid for it and a couple extra, I'll be more than happy. More than happy. So yeah, I'm going to pull the brake package off. I'm actually pulling the top and bottom wishbones, power steering rack, sway bar. I'll pull the splitter off. I want to keep that. I'm really proud of that, the way that come up. It's a really nice little memento. Yeah, so basically just the shell. And I'll have all the other spare bits that I'll be able to put into my ute. It'll be great. Awesome. Alright, I reckon we ought to fire this up, guys, and give her a little run for the sort of last time. Why not? Smell that E85. Wow. Oh dear, oh dear. God, it's noisy. Yeah. You got to remember too, guys, the reason why she's so snappy, it's got no converter on it. So it's still really responsive. We're on open pipes as well. So, but gee, it's a lively little motor. There's no doubt about it. It's awesome. Absolutely love it. Yeah. Well, now I can pull it out. That's the next job. Pull the engine out and start packing up everything in this shop. And I haven't said anything to anyone, but I'm actually moving out of this workshop. And I'm going to move next door into there where my ute was parked, and I'm going to have a big reshuffle, and my son, my youngest son, is actually going to move into here. Now he wants to set up a little shop for himself. So the goal was by the end of the year we'd have this all sort of cleaned out, and we're going to put a hoist in this as well. And he loves playing around with cars. He's got a nice little, I think it's a 2017 Mustang. He wants to turbo that, so that's going to be another little project in the wings the next year or two. I've actually got one turbo. I've got I think it's a 58mm, it's a Kinagawa brand. And I said to him, you can have that, buy yourself another one the same, a good little turbo. I ran it originally on this with my 308. It's perfect, around 7 pound. It was rated to 500 horsepower. And I said, you get yourself another one of those turbos and you can run a twin setup, and we'll run it down below a remote sort of setup down underneath there. You can keep his header pipes and we can adapt it in down there, and yeah, so he's got a fella he knows that does a lot of tuning. Very, very smart young fella. He's got his own little business, and with myself and the other fella and my son, he'll be able to set up his own little turbo setup on his Coyote. Those things are unbelievable. They've got double overhead cams on them, 4 valve per cylinder. They've got the valve adjustment, the variable valve timing on them. They're only a 5 litre, but geez, it goes. It's really responsive. I mean, it pulls from idle. It's a phenomenal little engine. So a little bit of boost will really it'll be an unbelievable car. So that's what we're going to do in here, folks. So I'm moving out into the other section. I'll set up my own little space there, and my son can take over this little space. I'll move my trailer out. I've got a spot for that undercover, and look, it's a new chapter, and I can't wait. I really can't. Things are so tight at the minute in this world. You know, my son wants to have a little go in life, but everything's so hard. Rents are so ridiculous. Everything's just so hard. So this is a bit of a leg up for him, and I'm very close with my 2 boys, and it'll give him a great opportunity to get started over time. Just dabble into it very slowly. He's got a great little job on the town. He works for a local mechanic. You know, his boss is a really nice fella, very easygoing, and he's in a really good position, my son, to to eventually down the track, when he's got a little bit of time on his hands and set up his own little business here, he could eventually do his own little mechanic shop. So it'll be exciting. Anything of interest, I'll film it. Yeah, it's great. So it's been great with this car, guys. Oh, look, I've absolutely loved it. It has taught me so much. I'm not sad at all. I'm actually really excited for the next venture, for the next phase of my life. It's time to move on. It's a very expensive sport, motor racing. You've got to put the money in and a lot of work. You've really got to dedicate yourself to it. And it's okay when you've got the money and the time. It is good, but it came at a price. It did come at a price. My family missed out there for a little bit, and I'm not going to let that ever happen again. I'm going to put the time in with my family, and I think this is a great move. Still gets me to dabble in with my ute, play with my little bit of boost, and I've got a lot of parts and a lot of stuff that I've bought over the years, and this really is not going to cost me anything to do. It's just a bit of time. And I hope you guys enjoy the journey moving forward too. So, because the world is changing, folks. It's not staying the same. This 3D matrix that we're in now, it's starting to crack and crumble. A lot of people are feeling it. A lot of people aren't aware of it, but a lot of people are aware of what's sort of happening. We're basically, in a nutshell, we're moving into a higher frequency of living. We're just going through the shitstorm at the moment, but we are moving into a higher frequency of living, which means wars, service to self, greed, anything low vibration, aggression, it's all going to be phased out. This planet's had enough of it. And I'm very tuned in with it. I know what's going on. I know why certain things are happening and why it's sort of playing out the way it is. It's a big cleanse. There's a lot of negative energy on this planet. There's a lot of sickness on the planet at the moment. I'll give you some advice. Don't trust the system, guys. The system's not there to help you. It's actually gone very dark, the whole system, the medical system. Governments are off their head. I don't trust any of it. I do my own research. I use my own natural healing remedies, and with a lot of success. I'm trying to help people around my local area. I try and educate people that want to listen. So we're in for, it's a big change. There's a big change happening. Go with it. I would say, open your mind a little bit, guys. Don't become closed-minded and rely on government, because they're not there to help you. They're not there to help you at all. They want to restrict you as much as they can. It's all about control. I'm my own sovereign being, and what that means is, I govern myself. I do no harm to others. I respect and love humanity. But I don't need no government telling me what to do, what to put into my body. No, I don't need that at all. I can judge for myself what I need, and I don't need to be coerced or tricked or manipulated into any of their devious acts on what they're doing. They're trying to just put the squeeze on everyone, lifting interest rates, making life so friggin' hard to live. It's all about control, and if they can bring you into fear, you'll be submissive. Well, no, I'm not in fear. I'll live the way I want to live without harming anyone, not interfering with anyone's life, not hurting anyone. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. It's a lot of the reason I gave the car away, because I just woke up. I realised it's all this car and racing is all about ego. And in the last sort of couple of years, my ego has fallen away. It's unreal. I found my sort of true self. And to move on with this is so easy. It feels so good. And I can't believe I did it, to be honest. I mean, it was a great learning curve, but there was a lot of ego in it. And it's not good, the ego. We need to lose it. We need to start looking out for one another and caring for one another, especially moving forward. So it's not to say we can't have our passions, but we need to have a balance. So start giving back. I pick up a lot of rubbish when I go out in the van. The van I use all the time, that's all I got. I've sold the BT and I use the van for travelling anywhere we go. And if I'm up the mountain, I've got bags tucked away in there, I'll go for a walk and I'll just go picking up rubbish because it feels so good. I'm giving back that little bit. And it's unbelievable the amount of rubbish people throw out, I just hope we people can see what is happening and can make changes within on themselves and start giving back. Start helping out your neighbours. Start picking up a bit of rubbish. Start reading between the lines. Start looking at what the government are doing. And just open your eyes, generally speaking, and seeing the truth. Because we are living in an illusion. This 3D matrix, guys, is an illusion. So it's going to be hard for a lot to see that. It's going to be a very hard time for a lot of people. But my tip is to just surrender to it, do your research, and don't be scared to look at the truth. If you've had the old you-know-what in the arm, there are things out there now that can help. Ivermectin's a good one. Hydroxychloroquine. It'll help with the spike proteins in that shot. So if you've constantly got flu-like symptoms, you know how they say long COVID? That's a load of shit. It's in the jab. So the ones that haven't had the shot, we're not experiencing it. None of my family's had the shot, and none of us are crook. If we are, I think my son had something there a month or so ago. He was only a couple of days out, bounced back again. Nothing wrong with him, just a common cold. Good immunity. So you've got to keep the body healthy by not trusting the government. Trust me. So I'm going to be talking a lot more about it as we go along. If you guys don't like me talking truth, just move on. That's fine if you're not up to that phase in your life. But if you are, and you like cars, engines, turbos, and what I have to say, keep watching, subscribe, and we'll move forward. I'm going to show you all the moving. I'm going to do it all as we move on. Pack it all up. I'm going to put it in the trailer, stash it for now until I make a bit of room with my ute. So it's going to be fantastic and I can't wait, guys. I really can't. Alright, that's enough of me rambling on. We've got a great win with the engine. I'll be able to pull it out now, drain the water out of it and wrap him up, retorque the heads, wrap him up and stash him away for the ute when she's ready. So it's all good, all good. I'll put one up probably in the next 3 weeks. I'm getting onto this, moving, so I'm not going to muck around with it. I want to get in and get it done over this winter months, and hopefully in the next few months we'll have it all shifted out and organised. I'll keep you all up the loop with it, guys, so take care. I'll catch you on the next one.